In a world infested with semi-mediocre podcasts, only one show can bring you an exceptionally mediocre podcast. It's the Indispensable Thursday Show with Sable and Dave.
Oh man,
That's a hilarious intro. Who recorded that?
I love it that I'm the audio dude and you're the one that actually gets those clips together. That's says something wrong about the artist inside me. There must be a small artist just rotting and dying of creativity.
Sable has an artist inside him right now. I'm not supposed to say anything. He's like sitting on this very handsome man's lap.
It was like that reference you made earlier. What was that girl's name? You were talking inside her.
I'm looking at Sable with a deer in the headlights. I have no idea what he's talking about.
Dave?
Should we introduce ourselves real quick? Ourselves?
Yes.
Ourself? That doesn't make any sense.
Let me start. You're listening to the Indispensable Thursday Show with Dave. He's the Google shill, and Sable. I'm the Apple fanatic.
Oh, God. Fanboy versus Google. I'm an Apple fanboy, too. I'm getting an iPhone pretty soon, by the way. Probably within the week, I will have an iPhone 5C or 5S.
Oh, nice.
This is not just a tech show, though. We're going to talk about everything under the sun.
But I was trying to create a little controversy there by pitting us against each other.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there will be some tension in the air at some point.
Who wants to listen to a podcast of guys that will drink bourbon together?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the one they're listening to right now.
Oh, yeah. Little Maker's 46 right here.
Mm-hmm. With could you tell them about your ice making? What was it? A ritual, I guess. You got this funky. What did it tell people about this thing?
Yeah, well, I'm not really enough of a cocktail nerd to really deserve this, but I heard on some podcast somewhere, some guys were talking about the really silly, ridiculous thing that they bought to make crystal clear, glass-like ice cubes. So I went over to the Neat Ice Kit website, the company Neat, they make those styluses.
Neat.
And I said, this is totally frivolous and worthless, but I'm going to buy it. And it's the most fun thing to share. My father-in-law was visiting. Well, he's a pseudo-father-in-law. It's complicated. And he's a bourbon guy, but...
Is he going through the operation? Is he like in the...
He's
taking
been
hormones
through the
now?
operation.
Oh, okay. That's why.
We don't like to talk about it.
Well, then you shouldn't have a podcast then if you don't want to talk about something like that.
Well, gets me after the second drink. So I found out he enjoys some good bourbon, and I said, "You want to see this totally ridiculous contraption that I wasted my money on?" And he said, "Sure." He seemed amused. So I showed him, you pull out of the freezer this giant black mammoth, like you need a super XL Magnum condom to fit over this. And out of the rubber, you pull this perfectly frozen ice block, but only the top third of it is useful. So you have to get out the chisel.
It reminds me of the movie The Thing, the John Carpenter one. Remember the big ice block that they have to take out? Oh, it's so awesome.
So I have to get out the chisel, and I have to get a mallet. It comes with a special wooden mallet. And then you whack this perfect, crystal clear, like beautiful works of art glass ice cubes that you put into your drink.
They are beautiful, and it's all to just throw it into your bourbon. How much did it cost? What was it? I want to do some math here. How much was it?
I think I went a little bit nuts. I bought the double deluxe kit. It came with two, and I'm pretty sure I paid $80 for that.
$80. Now, do you have any idea how many meals you could buy for a North Korean family with $80 American dollars? You could probably feed them for like a decade.
I'm going to disagree. According to that Red Cross website, it takes $10 to feed one family for a month.
So, North Koreans.
So we're not even getting people through a whole year here, Dave.
No. North Koreans eat tree bark and like shoelaces and stuff. Their whole entire lives they're starving. Way to open the show on a funny note, huh?
But the North Koreans
they'll trap when they get a rat in their barracks. They close the doors and they try to kill it so they can eat it. That's how many rats do you think?
But those are the
$80?
common people. You're not talking about the elite. Cyber hackers.
The people in the prison camps.
The 1800 Club. You know the ones that shut down Sony Pictures, the biggest hack ever.
Yeah.
Sony Pictures.
I haven't read much about that. I hope you know some more. Tell me about
Sony
this.
Pictures was so hosed from this allegedly North Korean hack.
North Korean, right? Okay.
Yeah. Because they have some movie with Seth. What's his name? He's a real funny guy from that.
Is it a retaliation for the James Franco Seth?
This is
whatever his name is.
This is the alleged
Seth.
the rumor in the tech community. Wow. Sony is so bad they lost all their data. They just took all the computers. They're not giving them back to people. They're like, these computers are gone. We're giving everyone new laptops. We've lost if you've ever even applied for a job at Sony Pictures, the North Koreans are making credit cards with your credit right now.
Wow.
I can't help but laugh about it because it's so stupid. Sony was hacked a couple years ago. The PlayStation Network, remember that? Never heard about that.
You're
not a gamer.
No, not a gamer.
I'm going to make a note. Dave is not a gamer.
Gamer. Gamer, not OR, right?
No, you're gamer with a Y.
So funny.
So, Dave, you were showing off your new. While I'm showing off my $80 cube of ice, you're showing off your $80 Chromebook.
I'm fingering my $200 Chromebook. I got the new, the white one, or they call it Moonstone.
Moonstone.
It's the Chromebook 11, CB3-111. I'm loving this damn thing so far. It boots up just faster than a jackrabbit on a date, and
Boots
it like
fast.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Very easy to operate. Obviously, no operating system. At first it seemed like it's designed to be used online, and people think, oh, well, gee, that's kind of a drawback. Well, do you ever use your computer not online anymore? I mean, that's the first thing I do. I flip out if I'm not connected to the internet, even if I'm just going to go and, I don't know, look at some pictures. I will obviously look at pictures and look at online, but even if you're going to do anything, you're
Unless
pretty
they're
much
from your private porn collection.
Yeah, right. Yeah. My VHS porn collection I had transferred over to the hard drive.
That's what that hard drive was. I was wondering why you had 100 terabyte RAID array in your closet. I'm bringing my laptop.
All my fans pointed at it. Yeah, the special air conditioner installed just in that closet for that.
So what are the solar panels for?
I'd rather not say. The Chromebook. So no complaints really about the Chromebook, other than weird things like I plugged the HDMI in to watch something and it didn't show my video; it just showed my desktop. I don't know why. Do you know why?
I would imagine that the Chromebook does not support HDCP.
What is HDCP?
That's the copy protection that is built into every HDMI cable.
Oh, there's copy. I did not know there's copy protection
into the cable so that you can't just plug it into a device and record your HDMI output from your DVD or Blu-ray.
Okay, what if I'm playing my own video file? Should I try just something that I shot to see if that works?
You could try your own non-copyrighted video. You could try.
Because I was trying to watch an episode of Catch a Contractor with Adam Kroll on there on Spike TV, but it wasn't even showing my browser window. It was just my desktop.
It's weird.
It was very strange. I'm going to have to look into that. But
if you know more about Chromebooks than I apparently do, send it to send it to Dave Sucks at. No, I'm just kidding.
We don't have an email address for our show yet. We're going to have one. It's probably going to be Sable and Dave at Gmail or something. Yeah.
Can I talk over you some more? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to work on my talking over you. Talking over.
Are you timing this, by the way? Because we want to get out of this. We want to let people go back home in for 30 minutes. I do not want to keep people longer than 30 minutes listening to this.
I was kind of waiting for them to call in and say, okay, we finished the drive home. We're done.
You hear that dead air, folks? No, that was just me, just pretending.
We're not broadcasting this live yet. Well, maybe someday. So I made a couple notes for us to talk about today, Dave.
You started the show so quick. We both tried to have 5 bullet points, and I only got 4, and then you started recording, so I panicked. So I have 4 bullet points I want to talk about. But I see you've got more. You've got 5 or 6 even.
No, I've only made my few bullet points. The rest are notes. Okay. So like a note, I said, Dave is not a gamer. I see how that could be confused as a bullet point. I have this weird thing. It makes this ink mark.
That's called a pen.
Paper.
Yeah. Okay. Papermate. Okay.
Yeah, it's Papermate. So I had some peanut butter brittle from C's Candy the other day. Are you much of a candy guy?
I look like I'm a candy guy if you've seen a picture of me, but I'm not super into candy. Other than I love chocolate chip cookies and cakes, but not big on the candy. And I don't like peanut brittle very much. Thank God.
Well, the C's candy is always sort of a mixed bag for me because I don't really like most of the little chocolates that they have. But we have a vendor that brings into our office the giant boxes of C's candy and the little peanut butter brittle.
Yeah.
That stuff's good. I almost took the box back.
It'll
to my
do
office.
for me in a pinch. Like if there's no other candy around, I might take a little bit of it. I always found that the lady's face on there a little off-putting. Like she's old. She looked like my great grandmother actually a little bit.
Okay.
Who
She's
I
the
only
kind of
met
woman
maybe
you want
once.
baking your sweets for you, though.
Yeah, I suppose she was like 4'10" and she weighed like 400 pounds. So
Look, if some
my grandmother, not the C's lady.
if some super
Great-grandma.
skinny girl comes out with perfect hair and not a smudge of what looks like work on her body, and she has a tray of cookies, that stuff came out of a box.
So
So it's not going to be as good as the one that the woman like went out to the field and chopped down some.
true.
Grain.
That is very true. The uglier ladies and maybe the heavier ones, they do work harder. Like the hot chicks don't. They know they don't really have to do much to please. They just
Dave, I think it's a little ping
show
pong to
up.
say that some girls are heavier than others.
It's a little ping pong.
Yeah, a little ping pong.
What does that mean?
You know,
I'm learning a new word here.
when you say something that isn't really politically correct anymore, we don't want to get thrown off of our podcast feed before we even. No offense to
Yeah.
our
Newsflash: some women are more attractive than others. Just like men are more. Some are more attractive than others. Believe it or not, Sable, I actually know a few men who are more attractive than me. Did you know this?
One of my students, I'm not sure why she was telling me this, said that men tend to age well and start to look good as they get around my age and their prime.
Don't tell your wife that.
I wouldn't.
Luckily, our wives would never ever listen to this show, so that's good.
I hope not.
We're
She never
safe.
listens to anything else I say.
We are both
Why
married.
would she listen to
Yeah,
this?
right. Yeah, we are both married, and we both also have children, which I think is an important thing if you're listening to a podcast. By the way, I listen to a lot of podcasts actually, and I find I'd rather listen to. I like to listen to smart people talk, and I think people who generally are maybe have a. I don't really have much of a career, but at least have like children and a family.
Right?
I think it makes you a wiser person to do these things. And I generally find those type of people a little more interesting to listen to. People who are parents and
Right. Might be why
been
you
around the
and I
block
get
a little
along.
bit. Yeah.
Well-
Remember what the Sanhedrin is? The Sanhedrin? It was the old,
Yeah.
it was a Jewish, what was it, like a sort of a Supreme Court, I guess, in the olden times. You weren't allowed to be on it if you didn't have children. And
There's a
obviously,
lot of-
you had to be a male, but that was, at those times. But
There's a sect of Jewish mysticism called the Kabbalah. You're not allowed to begin to study the Kabbalah until you are at least 35, have been studying the religiously your whole life, and been married with children. Because if you weren't grounded in that history, the questions that the Kabbalah poses could drive you away from your religion into something like atheism.
well, we're going to spend the next hour on Kabbalah.
That's right,
Just kidding.
Kabbalah.
We're not
Kabbalah.
gonna do
No, no, I was talking about peanut butter brittle because I was
Yeah.
thinking about these peanut butter.
Thank God you're keeping
fudge
notes because I would never
brownies.
have gotten back to the peanut butter brittle.
So I went to my kid, my 7-year-old. He has been taking piano lessons for the last few months. He had his first recital on Sunday.
Yay!
So this is very exciting for us. We have a hardcore, amazing piano player, older Russian woman. She's been teaching piano for 40 years. I love when Marina plays in the band. She's the kind of musician that when you're playing in a band with her, she'll play something and then I'll play something in response and she'll hear that and she'll play something and we'll go back and forth. The clarinet, the guitar, I'm playing the guitar, the drummer, and we're making this musical moment happen. So when she said she was ready to take Jacob for his piano, I said, heck yeah. So he's been a couple months in and we went to his first recital this Sunday.
Beautiful. And
Big event.
Did you get a little something in your eye? If you know what I mean. Was it dusty in there?
I didn't really appreciate his, couple months of piano lessons until I started listening to some of the other kids who've been playing for years and years. And I thought, some of them are going to work really hard and make some good songs, but they don't have any passion in there. There was a couple of the kids there that you could tell they were musical. And here's Jacob coming along. He's only been playing piano lessons for a couple months. Pretty good timing, pretty good touch. Is that all right? Maybe, just maybe, he'll have a chance to say something musically. So after that was done,
He could be the next Pete Barbuti.
but he won't be the next Mozart.
Yeah. That was a joke for you over 70 people. They're all cracking up. Of course, they don't know how to download podcasts, so I guess that was a really bad.
We'll make sure it gets on your car
Joke.
radio for you next time.
Yeah, I'll put it on their Victrola, send it to their Buick LeSabre radio, somehow broadcast it.
So after this really beautiful, there's a lot of students in Marina's studio. So there was, I think, 15, I have to count them, 16 students recital. After that was all done, we all went to the back tables and people had brought all their snacks. We're usually the suckers that bring carrots and celery. We knew somebody else was bringing them, so this time we brought cheese and crackers. But somebody made peanut butter fudge brownies.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed, I stood back a little bit, trying to be
a-hole.
polite.
Yeah.
They weren't all attacking them. The kids all went through first, 16 kids. There were still brownies on the plate. I let some adults go. There were still brownies on the plate. I said, all right, those brownies were meant for me. And they were good.
Somebody sprinkled anthrax on them. Probably that's why no one would take them.
I fairly gave everyone a chance to have at the brownies before I got to them.
These kids today, what is it with them? I don't know. Why did they not pick the? I don't know. They don't. They're afraid to eat bad stuff. Actually, that's not true.
There were
bad stuff.
cupcakes.
Okay, well, cupcake does that's lower hanging fruit than a peanut butter brownie. Is that what it was?
Peanut butter fudge.
You got frosting on. Oh god, yeah, that does sound pretty good. Oh jeez.
It had like the dark and the light marbled look. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is not helping me with
Oh,
at all.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave, this is the incredible show,
It's indispensable.
the indispensable show.
Sable.
I knew that.
So we got to start getting to some stuff that's indispensable. Like
That's right.
why people are gonna to be telling their friends, I can't do without this show. That's what indispensable means. So that's what we want you to think. So
Man, it's a good thing you're a writer, because I wouldn't get that. Although, I've discovered that even some of my favorite writers are not omniscient. I'm reading Harry Potter book 2 to my kids, and Grandma and Grandpa, sort of Grandpa, same guy in air quotes that I don't want to go into the long explanation on. He happens to be a pretty well-known playwright, and I'm reading Harry Potter, and there's a word. It looks like a de-nerfed vulture. No, what's the word? Now I might have to go look up the word and get back to you.
de-nerfed? They took his Nerf ball?
No, it wasn't a de-nerf. It was the phrase was a vulture that hadn't, like, was starving. And I said the word, whatever it was, D something, I'll look it up. And my 5-year-old says, Daddy, what's a vulture? And I go, I don't know. I was just thinking the same thing. So I look over at the playwright and he goes, I don't know. We better look it up on Google. And I thought, you don't know? How can you be a writer for a living and not know every word in the English language? Come on now.
There's quite a few words in the English language. A lot of the good words actually were made up by people like William Shakespeare. He actually made up a lot of the words we use. I think he made up assassin. That word was made up.
No. No,
That's a Shakespeare.
That comes from the hashish, the hashashins. They would get all doped up on hash, and then they would go on suicide missions to kill their enemies. So they were the hashashins. But there was
Where's that from?
That's from Arabia. But we don't have the syllables to
Maybe
make,
it's not.
to
Maybe
make
it's not
those
assassin.
sounds.
I have to look that one up. I'll get back to you next week on that one.
I'm not questioning your intellect here.
But he did make up a lot of words that we use today. I should come up with a list. I just thought of that, but I know there are some. Let's get a list. Make a note. Make list of Shakespeare.
There you go.
Made up words.
Can you find your search history on your iPhone? Wait, you don't have your iPhone yet.
No, I'll be getting one next week though.
Shared links, reading list, favorites. Dang it.
Talking about
History.
more tech stuff.
More tech. Well, I talk about tech stuff all day, so I don't mind if we don't talk about more tech.
Well, I wanted to
stuff
say
all
the
the time.
Amazon Echo. Do you think it's going to add to your life, or do you think it's spooky? People know what the Amazon Echo is. It's this little black cylindrical thing from Amazon that listens into your conversations all day. You can put it on your desk or your kitchen counter or your coffee table or something, and you it has a wake up phrase.
Alexa.
Alexa, yeah. Well, yeah, and I think you can program the wake up phrase. Like for me, it would have to be. It can't be a common phrase like the or and
Okay.
or who snorted my Vicodin, which you hear a lot in my house. But I would, you could put something like that you don't hear often, like "Daddy's sober," and then you ask your question
Right. Okay.
to Amazon. But I don't know. It looks pretty cool. The sound quality looks. Well, it was from the video you're hearing. They could be.
Who knows what it's going to actually be? But it's a giant black monolith with 7 high technology directional microphones that you're going to stick somewhere in the corner, plugged in, connected to your Wi-Fi. And what they're going to do is listen for you to mention, "Hey, we're out of flour. We need some more diapers." That's going to add onto your shopping list.
Which they can now deliver to you the same day with Amazon groceries, the Amazon Dash thing, which is their grocery thing.
So if you're a Amazon Prime subscriber, which I was recently, and I let my subscription last. If you happen to be an Amazon shill, they got if you're a Prime subscriber, you get that crappy music service. That's not crappy; it just doesn't have much of a selection, and the interface is horrible to use, and it sounds okay for the songs they have. So I guess it's not crappy.
It is sorry, I was almost going to say shoot. It is a crappy interface. You're talking about Amazon Music, right? Yeah. I can't find stuff on there, and they don't have a lot of stuff. It's hard to find your own music on there.
Yeah,
it's stupid.
So here's Amazon. You got to pay to be in the club, right? You got to pay extra if you want to get the same day shipping, which is really all I care about with Amazon. It's even worth for me to pay $10 to get a stupid cable that I need if I know I can order it at work in the morning and have it before I need to do some recording here in the barn at night. So then, if you're in the club, then they were going to extend you the invitation to buy this black monolith so you could buy more stuff.
But it will. The more we use this stuff, it gets better and better. The voice recognition stuff, and the more it gets to that whole super automated house where you say "start the shower for me" and it starts the shower. Which I like that whole thing. I'd like to be able to just talk to my house and tell it to do stuff.
Aren't you married?
Yeah. She wouldn't do that.
Oh.
No, she might. But first I have to wake. She's the worst morning. She says, "I'm a morning person." She's the worst morning person ever. She's like, she'll wake up early, but she'll lay there for an hour and a half. Like,
not a morning person, not a liar. I'm not sure that those are necessarily bad things.
I am not a morning person. I freely admit.
I am not a morning person.
My
wife is a little bit of a morning person, and my children are mostly morning people.
Ooh.
So it's usually my wife and the younger kids, or the middle one, who are up early and doing stuff and getting things done. And then finally, my 7-year-old will drag his butt out of bed sometime around 9 o'clock, and I'll try and...
Good man, yeah.
I'll try and drag out, especially on Saturday. If I put the earplugs in, man, I could sleep till 10:30, 11 o'clock on Saturday.
I do. My wife is nice enough to actually take the girls out. I have 2 daughters. She will take them out of the house for a couple hours, and I usually I wake up when no one's. It's very nice on the weekends. Wow. I told her that whenever she says, "I let the husband sleep in on the weekends," and I tell people that's why we're still married, because I don't know if I was tired all the time from being the non-morning person waking up by the children every day. Ooh, you don't want to be around me. It's bad.
My kids still talk about the breakdown I had once. It was
breakdown.
Like, I had them for a few days. My wife was out of town. I wasn't mad at them. I wasn't frustrated at them. I took nothing out on them or at them, but I had that frustration inside, and I grabbed the bunk bed and I shook it, and the bunk bed started to crack. I was like, "Oh God!" Oh man,
that sounds like something I would do, actually.
So 2 years later, the kids still talk about, "Remember, Daddy, that time that you were really mad at nothing and you broke the bed?"
You're mad at nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. It's not one of my prouder moments.
Oh my.
I have to live with that for the rest of their lives.
Oh boy, it's hard to be a daddy. It really is.
You know, the worst part, for me anyways, about being a dad is laying down the law. I don't like I don't like have to tell them to do things all the time. It's like, you know what? Every night after dinner,
Do you mean it's
brush
hard
your
to
teeth.
do, like you feel bad, or you're just sick of having to say it over and over and over? And
No,
over
I feel
again?
bad having to boss them
Okay,
around.
I'm the latter. I'm just sick of having to say it over and over and over again.
Like I don't want to have to tell them what to do all the time. I'd like them to just do it. I'd like to spend all of our time just doing cool stuff.
It sounds
and
very
hanging out.
feminine of you, actually. It's like I want them to just anticipate my needs and their needs and just do them ahead of time without me having to ask.
No, what I want them
That's
to
what-
do is to be scared as all get out that if they don't do what I need them to do, that I'm going to have to lay down the law. And since I don't like laying down the law, it's going to be very loud with no leeway at all.
And it could be bunk beds getting destroyed.
Bunk beds could get... I would never destroy the children,
No.
but I would certainly destroy my own personal property.
Yeah. I know how that works. Nothing drives me more insane than I'm the type of person, if I'm trying to screw in like a wood screw and if my screwdriver blade slips off of it like more than 3 times, I just like I'm going to have a stroke and I just have to, I'll either scream and hit the thing or just walk away and like,
Nice.
you know,
So you don't do all your own home
I
improvements?
don't do anything. I don't know how, luckily. And
See, this is the modern man.
yeah.
I've had this conversation with my wife lately. I've done a few things around the house. I put up blinds. I put up a screen door. All the bookshelves, the curtain. Like, I can do it. I don't like to do it. I give up all my time. I give up my World of Warcraft time. I give up my Hearthstone time. I give up guitar time. I end up missing parties and get-togethers because we're working on stuff. So I finally came to the conclusion that I can buy the thing that I want installed. I can go to Home Depot. I can get the garage door opener of my dreams. I can put it in the garage, and then I can call up the handyman and say, "Are you free to come over and will you install my garage door opener for $100?"
Because he could do it in an hour, and it would take you 4 hours and a lot of cussing probably,
Right.
and it would kind of be like, it's kind of crooked, but it's good enough, you know.
Whereas he'll
I
do it and
understand.
it'll be perfect.
Right.
So, and I really I came to peace with that. I'm not going to be building tables out of spare wood like my friend Bob. He's very handy. He builds his own furniture. Of course, he's got a giant house that he bought that had so many living rooms they couldn't afford to put furniture in every room, so they started building it to fill in the house.
Yeah, I was not given that ability. I was blessed with the ability to serenade people's ears with my lovely sounding voice during a podcast and make them laugh with joy and frolic and run.
And your witty writing.
And my witty writing, which maybe we'll hear some of at some point during the course of our show.
Sounds good.
We have some surprises in store for you.
Well, Dave, I want
You
to
listeners.
plug you a little bit.
Okay.
I bought and read, it's already been a couple months now, your novel. You want to tell us anything about
Oh,
it
yeah.
before you take that sip?
Well,
Or
thank
after
you,
take that
Sable.
sip?
I'm glad you brought that up. It's a comedic adventure novel, sort of in the vein of a James Bond type thing. It's called Whiskey Tango, a whole nother kind of spy novel. And it's about a fellow who's a sort of a hillbilly guy, good old boy, and he ends up sort of by some strange mechanism getting superpowers. And the story kind of follows what happens to him as a result of getting these Superman-like superpowers. And, you know, the government comes a knocking, and, you know, he has to decide if he wants to just stay home and watch TV, which is his favorite thing to do, or go out and try to save the world. So this is what it is. And Sable enjoyed it, but
And
he's a friend of mine, so who knows if that's true.
And
But he was nice enough to say that.
nemesis.
Yeah.
Well, I got to thank our podcast sponsors at all times, of course. And,
Yeah,
and
that is
since
a-
no one is paying us but us, your book and the proceeds of it are...
Right, brought to you. Yeah, exactly. It's brought to you by Whiskey Tango, a whole other kind of spy novel. So download. You can get it on Amazon. It's only an ebook right now. So I can't autograph it for you, sadly. But someday it might be a print version. I don't know.
Do you have any other books coming out?
No, not right now. I'm working on a second follow-up story, which is I'm considering dumping because it's a little similar to something that's out right now. I might work on it later. It's like, oh, those guys stole my idea for my second book.
Just write it and sit on it for
I
5
will
years.
probably, yeah.
How
But
about that?
I've been focusing more on this podcast. We've been writing some little delightful things for this show that we're going to share with you in the shows to come.
Hopefully, you'll laugh as much as I have been.
Good. Yes, I agree. Hopefully you'll laugh as much as Sable has because he's been laughing.
So, and I just want to plug that I play in a couple of Jewish music bands around Orange County here. I know Orange County is not typically considered very Jew-friendly, but I found the niche where there's...
They're not Jew hostile, though, are they?
I found a niche where there's no real Jew hostility. I mean, I found some problems in the public schools, but...
Oh, yeah? But how does that manifest itself? Oh, we're going to go over time here, but I want to hear how it manifests itself.
Well, I went to the principal of the school, and I said, I really don't appreciate the anti-Semitism going on. And she had to make changes to school policy when I confronted her.
What was an example of some anti-Semitism?
They were punishing the couple of Jewish kids for taking off the Jewish holiday.
Like they were not being allowed to make up something, or did they just flat out say stand in the corner because you took the Yom Kippur off?
You chose to take the holiday off.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
right. We can't allow you to have the same benefits the other children have because of that.
Right, so everybody gets Christmas off, but yeah, right. So, and there's enough Jews here where I think they should allow for that. Now, Hindus have a holiday every day, though, so I don't know if there's some Hindu kids here. That could be a problem.
Well,
don't they have every 2 or 3 days or some sort of one of the god where they have 8 million gods or some kind of gods? Like it's Ganesha's birthday.
You got me, man. I don't know anything.
Okay.
I barely understand my own beliefs.
On that note,
yeah, I just try to accept everyone else for who they are. Accept you for who you are and whatever the heck you believe.
We'll work through this and try to figure it out.
All right.
Let
me make one more
during
note
the course
of
the next
too.
few months.
Hindu holidays.
Hindu holidays.
Are they happy holidays? Can I alliterate
I
that?
don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Hindu holidays.
They won't involve beef.
I'll just put a question mark about are they happy? And then
I'm watching. Sable's writing a notepad, and I'm watching him. This is good pod. This is going to get nominated for a Poddy Award. I know it.
Hey, well, give us 137 episodes and a sponsorship by MailChimp or something, and we'll be in good shape.
Okay. Yeah. Help us out, people. Tell if you found this show, you might not find the first show indispensable, but you might have been amused and laughed for a few minutes. So, tell a friend. Say, hey, these guys are kind of funny. We could grow with them. Put them on your get get Podcruncher loaded up and put us in there, or Stitcher. We're going to be on all those eventually.
Pocket Cast,
right?
When you get your iPhone, I'll get you hip to Pocket Cast.
Okay,
that's the way to go.
Excellent. We'll be back in another week or so with some more tech talk. Maybe we'll delve into some politics. I'm going to talk about. God, black people are angry now.
Yeah, they are.
So,
it's still a little bit of a hot topic. And I'll bust my guitar out. We'll hear some sweet tube amp sounds.
Mm-hmm. We got a lot of stuff in store for you people. We're gonna be checking in with our friends on the local. There's a NPR show that we like to keep up with called All Things Being Equal. They record over there in West Venice Beach, California, right? Yep. Is that where they record?
Good crew.
Yeah, they're a good crew. But sometimes we'll grab snippets of their show because it's just so weird. We like listening to them. So we'll play some snippets of their show and we might have some other things, little surprises for you.
Plugs, and I have to do a follow-up on why you're such a Google shill. Mm-hmm. So we sort of glossed over that. All right. Talk to you later, man.
Thanks.
Bye.